New word today from South Korea. It says North Korea fired a pair of short-range missiles into its waters sometime this week. This comes on the heels of Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel announcing yesterday the Pentagon will beef up its defense systems after North Korea's recent nuclear threats. With me now here on the set, Gordon Chang, author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. So with a welcome to you, Gordon. This approach by the United States, what do you expect the reaction to be from North Korea? Will it become more defiant?
Well, I think North Korea certainly is going to continue doing what it's doing, which is improving its long-range ballistic missiles, putting its missiles on mobile launchers, and I think also essentially detonating more nuclear devices. This is what North Korea does. They want these weapons. They want to sell them to Iran. And so I don't think we're going to see very much of a change.
So here's what's a little bit disturbing. We have a couple of years before all of these 14 extra, the missile defense would be put into place. How close are we to actually having North Korea with the capability of reaching our shores?
Well, they can reach our shores now. Alaska, Hawaii, maybe the upper reaches of the West Coast. I don't think so, but some people say, with a warhead that's conventional only. But within 5 years, and probably 3, the North Koreans will be able to airmail a nuke to almost any part in the United States.
Is North Korea capable of doing this on its own, or does it have to have help doing this?
Well, we know it's gotten some help. April 15th last year in the big military parade in Pyongyang, we saw a new missile, the KN-08, on mobile missile launchers. Well, China sold the North Koreans those mobile launchers. They're hard to find, and I think that's the reason why the administration reversed its stance on missile defense, because we're not worried about their 3-stage longest-range missiles. We can take those out on the launch pad. What we can't do is find these mobile missile launchers. So China's sale has substantially increased North Korea's ability to wage nuclear war.
So wait a minute. When you said that we had maybe 3 years until a nuclear missile could reach our shores, is that because of China giving them the missile launchers? I mean, was that a missing component?
That was the longest range missile, which we don't think China has actually helped them on, at least recently. But what we're worried about are the intermediate range missiles that China is certainly helping them on. And we have a stake in this because we have troops in South Korea, Okinawa in Japan, and Guam, which are within range of North Korea's mobile missiles.
Okay, so would you say that North Korea either has moved to or maintained its position of #1 concern in this arena? Because we often talk about Iran. You and I have done that many times. Where do those two land pitted against one another?
Well, Iran has technologies, but really because North Korea has sold them. So if we can deal with North Korea and solve the North Korean problem, that starves the Iranians of all of this technology for their missiles, which are essentially North Korean missiles rebranded, repainted. And it's also true with their uranium enrichment technology, which comes, some of it, from North Korea.
So then you're saying that Iran really can't be successful at developing nuclear missiles and its programs without North Korea.
Right.
Does that then at all give credence to Iran's claims that they develop nuclear power for energy?
Well, the Iranians aren't doing that because we've been catching them in all sorts of experiments that are only useful for a weapons program. North Korea and Iran have had this joint program on missiles and nukes for more than a decade, and we've seen these transfers of technology. They're only useful for military purposes, and so clearly Iran is not going for a civilian program. If they wanted a civilian program, they would have been doing many other different things, and they'd be more willing to talk to the international community about what they're doing, not trying to hide their facilities.
Here's a bottom line question, Gordon. Do you think North Korea would actually launch a nuclear attack against the United States? I mean,
no. No,
okay.
And the reason they wouldn't do it is because we would know where it came from and we would retaliate immediately. The thing that people in Washington are concerned about is not an airmailed nuke, but really a weapon that has been smuggled across the Mexican border, brought in and assembled. Because that, you can't necessarily trace who did it. Because although we know North Korea's plutonium isotopes, we don't know their uranium isotopes. And we're not going to retaliate unless we are 100% sure. Because retaliation, as Ronald Reagan said, is mass murder. And the United States doesn't want to do that unless we're absolutely sure who the culprit is.
Gordon Chang, a very sobering conversation. Thank you for being here as always.
Thank you, Alex.